Today's gaming PC should be the only gaming PC you should be building on the high end in the current market. Welcome back to PCUs. So what happened is recently we covered why you should not buy an RTX 4090 nowadays. And the reason is pretty simple, because the RTX 4080 Super is now out and that card costs half of an RTX 4090 and actually doesn't go too slow. It's roughly 30% slower on average. So today we're building a high-end PC around that. Now unfortunately today's build is very balanced, and the guy who decided to build it did not follow the tricks that I gave in my how to build a budget high-end gaming PC video. So what happened is I recommended you buy a locked motherboard with an unlocked CPU, and then via undervolting and BIOS tweaking you managed to make it run even better than at stock, even on a locked motherboard. But unfortunately that was not done here today. And we have a Z790 Tomahawk from MSI, but at least it's a relatively budget-end motherboard. Another thing that he did not follow is he wanted an i9 4900K at all costs. And now, you know what I think about this? This is useless. You'd be better off buying either a 14th gen i7, which basically does everything this CPU does, or yes, you could go with Ryzen, sure, or you could buy even just an i5, and I'm gonna go as far as to say that pairing a 14th gen i5 14600K would be great with the 4080 Super, but unfortunately that's not what happened here today. Power supply as well. He bought an RTX 3.0 PCIe Gen 5 compatible power supply from FSP, which we've covered in the past. It's one of the best power supplies out there at the moment, but obviously I showed you in the previous video that if you buy a non-RTX 3.0 power supply, you can save quite a bit of money there. But then he made the smart choice and went with a less known brand, Lexar, for the NVMe, 2TB drive, just easy. And then, this is a really smart choice, he got some Patriot Viper Extreme 5 DDR5 RAM, and now this thing goes as high as 7600 MHz, which is truly high, especially considering that it has only a C36 latency. So this is very good RAM and kind of justifies the motherboard, to be fair. But now let's focus on the star of the show here today. So what we have here is a brand new case from MarsGaming that definitely reminds me of my Height Y40, but it's the MarsGaming MC-3T, and I think it's gonna look stunning. It's an aquarium style case again, and it's plenty of compatibility, you will see. And then we have the new Xilence cooler. Now this thing is supposed to look better than the previous one, which we have already tested, and it should perform basically the same, just a bit better of the old one, which was already a massive performer, while costing not too much at all. This thing you can buy for like $100, the fans you can buy for like $30 a set. This case is just a shave over $100. The motherboard, again, you should buy a B760 for like, again, a little bit over $100. Power supply, you should buy a non-RTX 3.0 PSU for, again, $150, something like that. You should buy an i5, not a 600 euro CPU, and then $100 for the storage, roughly $150 for the RAM. It could be a very budget build, but it's not. But hey, let's get building. Okay, so it's time to open up the case, the MarsGaming MC-3T. Let's go. Okay, so first thing I see different is the top is actually very different, because the height, the full panel is mesh. This one It has a very weird way to come off, and it's basically solid. And only the top portion of the radiator is actually mesh, which means the radiator is actually mounted relatively normally, whereas in the height, you were supposed to like do strange stuff to get it running, basically. So that's the first difference. However, the back is quite a bit mesh. Okay, so the side panel is just toolless. So you have to push very hard and it just comes off. Accessories and the manual inside. Let's now take a look at the back side. Very spacious for the cable management. I especially like these routes, to be honest. Okay, so I say we mount the motherboard in, but so far I'm really liking it.
Perfect.
You should take off the glass, by the way, if you want to do this, but we are trying to do it without, but haha, being lazy rewards. Okay, so it's a bit tricky. You have to get out this piece of glass, but then it will just fit perfectly, and honestly, it also looks very nice. So I guess it's a good trade-off. Now this MarsGaming case, yes, it's great value, but it comes basically with no fans. So we have the 3 on top covered, we are the only one. However, we are still missing 3 on the side and the 1 on the back. You could also put some on the bottom, but we are avoiding that this time. So we're going with 4 jellied fans, 3 on the side, 1 out the back. We are probably going to be going with a fully negative pressure setup. So basically, maybe we'll put just the back one as intake, or maybe just go fully outtake, we'll see. Now these are the new jellied Zodiac fans, and they are high performance fans which are RGB with a 3-pin connector. Let's unbox them. They give you the mounting screws, and something very cool, they are daisy chainable already. So if you buy 4, you don't need any extra controllers. You can just daisy chain the RGB of one into another. Okay, so actually you cannot really put 3 120, you can put 2 140s with ease, and even a slightly bigger fan, because we have another section, which means you can put even a 280mm only one water cooler if you can. But so we settled with 2 here, 1 here, fully negative pressure. Then if one wants, of course, you can just put 3 intakes in the bottom and really balance it out. So at this point, I say we just go ahead, plug our power supply in, and then get moving with the cable management. Okay, so here we are mounting the power supply. Now this, again, FSP Hydro G. We also covered the PTM Pro, the very small power supply they make in the Antec build we did. I will put the video up here in case you're interested, but just go ahead and install it. It's a great unit.
Perfect.
Now it's already pretty neatly cable managed, but this thing is a nice addition. So with this, you can basically lock everything in. Now guys, I've heard that the new RTX 4000 series slim GPUs are slim, but I didn't think they were this slim. I mean, that's a pretty small RTX 4080 if you ask me. But hey, it's a nice build. I hope you guys liked it, and I don't think we will have gaming benchmarks today. Okay, GPU install time. Okay, first boot. Let's see if we get a signal. No signal. Okay, we got it. We just had to reseat the GPU for a second, but now everything is working. And here we are with the build finished. Now, first off, I have to say this MarsGaming MC-3T looks much better than I expected. In the end, we went with just 2 fans on the side and 1 fan on the back, and we used 120s, but you can easily put 140s in there with absolutely zero issue. And also, if you have a build which is a bit heat constricted, meaning it runs a bit too hot, then you can just add extra fans on the bottom. But today we are running very cool and quiet, which allows us to transition to a few benchmarks. Now, I have run Primer 95 to test the temperature on this i9, and even under that, we managed to stay in the 80 degrees, which is absolutely massive for a CPU with 32 threads. 8 core, 8 performance core, hyper threaded with 16 efficiency cores. Absolutely crazy if you ask me. It goes to show how good this new Xilence cooler is, honestly. The previous model, I liked it a lot. We had in that build with the RTX 6900 XT, and it was absolutely great. But this one looks better, it is even easier to install, and it just manages to handle the i9 properly. Of course, we are running everything undervolted CPU and GPU as I show in my tutorials. Again, if you haven't seen them, go check them out. I will also have one on this build with the RTX 4080 Super, so that helps us with the performance and with temperatures as well. We also then run CPU-Z, and as you can see, our memory is just running at the full 7600 MHz XMP speed. We just had to click it in. Goes to show that the motherboard is good, CPU has a good IMC, and the RAM itself from Patriot Viper is great. Again, 7600 CL34 is very high performance RAM, and it also looks nice. It is fully compatible with the MSI software, and here we have MSI GPU and motherboard, so everything RGB wise works together seamlessly. We also daisy chained those jellied fans, which are the case fans, which are great. They look nice, they're extremely quiet, they perform well. They have my absolute recommendation as well. Obviously, power supply, we knew it was good to begin with, so nothing to say there. Same goes for the SSD. Overall, just good components. Cable management was very easy because the case is pretty spacious on the back. Again, it has the power supply vertical mounted on the back and very good routes for all the cabling. So I say we can now shift to the focus of today's build, and that is the RTX 4080 Super. That's the best card on the high end at the moment. Again, if you haven't seen my don't buy an RTX 4090 video, go check it out. I go in depth as to why it's not the best time to buy one. They are inflated due to AI and other reasons, import, taxes, etc. But this card, the 4080 Super, is much better than the 4080. It is cheaper and it runs very cool and quiet. As you can see, we run a Firestrike and the performance is absolutely insane. It's not too far off from a 4090. In my testing in real world gaming benchmarks, it's like a 30% off, to be completely honest. So it's honestly not that much at all. Obviously, there will be the odd scenario in which it performs worse, and in productivity, the 4090 is still winning by quite a large portion, but I think it's just an overall good card. As you can see by the temperature during Firestrike, this thing did not even reach 60 degrees on the stock fan curve. Again, of course, everything is undervolted, but still great performance from the MSI Ventus model as well. I'm super happy. And then this card will allow you to play 1080p maxed out, maxing out the engine in Apex Legends, doing 300 FPS locked all the time. And in Warzone, it's one of the few cards which will actually allow you to play at 240 Hz locked, going all the way to 280 Hz, meaning FPS on average. And it will also allow you to play at 4040p, 240 Hz on Apex absolutely fine. And even if you're a bit pushing it, if you overclock it, as I show on the channel properly, you can play at 4040p, 240 FPS pretty easily. If you want to step it up to 280 FPS, 1440p, you're gonna need a 4090, unfortunately. You can also do some 4K gaming with this thing. 4K 120Hz OLED is gonna be an absolute breeze for a build like this. If you're liking the video this far, please consider subscribing to the channel and maybe dropping a like. So all in all, I'm really happy. The MarsGaming case, honestly, 100% recommended. It's cheaper than the competition and it's one of the best looking aquarium cases because I love the way the glass is shaped. I just love it. So do let me know down below if you like the build, if you like the case, if you like the cooler, and what you think of the 4080. And hopefully I will see you guys in another video very soon. Goodbye.